Everybody. Myself Yatin Shukla, working as a senior assistant professor in computer science engineering department at Parul Institute of Technology. Our expert name, our expert is Mr. Amit Parmar. He is working as a senior software engineer in Vedity Software Private Limited, Ahmedabad. He is having total 6 years of experience in IT industry in the web development, and from the last 3 years working on React developer and having experience in designing and developing the enterprise application using React, Redux, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. He has worked on more than 15 software project development. Okay, so now with this brief introduction of the expert, I am handing over the session to Mr. Amit Parmar.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, audible, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Yes, audible.
Thank you, Parul University, first of all, for inviting me on this particular talk. This is basically a very interesting topic you will going to find basically because of JavaScript and the advanced features that we are gonna discuss today will be useful lot when you go in a industry, when you will work in industry, particularly in a web development field. So yeah, I will highlight few features that is used these days in industry, particularly when we are working on a web development. And you will also able to know that using JavaScript concept, you can make a good career in the industry these days. So we will talk a lot on that particular thing. And as per the beginner level, my basically idea is that we will start with some core concept. We will try to understand how actually we can write a JavaScript, and you will be able to understand more in detail so that you can explore this particular concept very much in detail. So let's start with that. So I Hello, am I audible? Okay, I guess there is an audio issue. Okay, let me just go through basic. So JavaScript, basically, you can say JavaScript is an client-side scripting language. If you see, JavaScript is used these days on a various platform. You can develop a whole application based on the JavaScript. And yeah, but like as a students, you might have developed the various application. You may have learn a particular subject called web development. In as a part of web development subject, there may be a possibility that you have learned JavaScript at the beginner level, right? So we will try to understand the JavaScript as a core concept, and then we will move ahead with some advanced topic. So JavaScript actually it's designed as a client-side scripting language, but based on the JavaScript, you can develop various kind of applications. So now JavaScript basically you can see here that it is widely used these days. If you know the front-end libraries like React, Angular, right? And as well as the backend environment like Node.js, and you can develop a very full-fledged applications out of that. So I won't go in much history of the JavaScript, but let's say who has developed. So Braden Each has created or he has invented JavaScript. So earlier the namings were different. Earlier it was like a Mocha, and then it was become a live script, and later the name it was coming with as a JavaScript. So in early 1995 it was developed. If you can see today, there are wide range of possibilities are there basically using JavaScript. So there are web application development you can do. You can also create a real-time networking application using JavaScript. Also command line tools and games, so there are no limit. You can create a full-fledged application using JavaScript concepts only, right? So similarly there are many more other terminologies are there, technologies are there like Java technologies, .NET technologies. Similarly, using JavaScript programming language, you are able enough to develop such particular programming such particular applications. So it may be range from various kind of things. You can say about mobile development, mobile app development, or real-time application like you can say of Facebook, right? It's a really nice example. At the end, I'll show you certain real-time projects where JavaScript is used actually in development. Okay, if I'm talking about some facts and figures, basically we will see this thing in more detail. But let's say if you will search for the particular trends currently, these are the web frameworks, right? And the number of projects are run or the number of developers are working on that, right? So these are the recent studies, and you will be able to see certain facts. You can also see on a Google Trends how far these all different frameworks based on the JavaScripts are there in the current market. So before you choose your particular career path, you can have some basic idea that what is the current trends in the market, and relevantly you can select different career path. So yeah, this is something important that you should know. Okay, so if I talk about some core thing in terms of JavaScript, so basically JavaScript was, as we discussed, that it is started in 1995 onwards, and like in 1997, it's become a first standardized version of that, and ECMAScript, that is ECMA script, also said like that, or ES script you can say. So that is initially has standardized. So ECMAScript is nothing but the specification, you can say that, whereas JavaScript, which is nothing but the programming language. So here you can say clearly that ECMAScript has set the standards or specifications, and based on that JavaScript was developed. So likewise, in the past JavaScript was used, but like in 2015 onwards, ECMAScript has made lots of new features, and basically that is nothing but you can say the modern JavaScript or the advanced features of the JavaScript, right? So they are introduced in 2015, and year by year, every year now onwards, they are adding new features in the JavaScript. So basically, the most useful, or you can say that the most used version of the JavaScript was the ES6, or you can say that ES15, that is ECMAScript 15, you can say. And this is brings lots of new changes. I have listed some of the concepts that we are going to talk in detail, but again, this is not that you can understand everything in a 1 hour session. But yes, you will have some basic idea that these features are very useful. If you will, go in a front end interview, or if you will try to appear for a JavaScript related interviews, you're gonna face all the questions which is based on this all features mentioned here, like let, const, arrow functions, spread operators, templates, literals. All are the key things are there when we are talking about ES6 feature. And ECMAScript's adding more and more features every year. All right. So basically, what you can do with the JavaScript. Okay. So basically, it has. I have covered up the list of things basically in context to the web development. But as I said, other than this simple front end or UI development, there are lots of things you can do. But currently, we will stick with the basic. So if you say you can make a dynamic web page, interactive web page using JavaScript, you can do a lot of things. You can create an user interface where you can say have a menu, pop-up windows, and so many things, right? So all the user components that you have seen on the most of the websites, where there is a large part of the contents are created as a part of JavaScript. Then you can also manipulate the content dynamically. So on the page, if you want to change the content dynamically, you can also use the JavaScript, right? And you can change the style, you can change the images, all sort of things you can do on an event basis, or you can do dynamically while loading your page. You can hide the content, or you can show the content, and many more dynamical things you can perform. Other than that, form validation is also one important thing that you will be able to see, that as a JavaScript is very handy when you want to do such a kind of thing. And these days, Ajax, you can say asynchronous JavaScript and XML, this is also very much useful. Because of Ajax only, we are able to make an asynchronous things with JavaScript. So this is also something very important. When you will learn JavaScript, you will be able to know all that things. Okay, now basically, settling the environment of the JavaScript. This is something very interesting thing, because like as a novice or at the beginning level, you people might not using all the tools. But let me say, if you are good with this editors, your development experience will be very great, and you will able to develop things very fast, and that experience will be also great. So I must suggest that when you are developing web applications, you should use certain professional tools. Uh, for my personal experience, I'm using the Visual Studio Code. It is called VS Code. You can just download it, and it will be a freely available tool that you can use. Uh, Other than that, also certain tools are there. They have their own advantage. You can also refer that. That is Atom, Sublime, and list is too long actually. But for the JavaScript development, VS Code is a tool where you will get lots of things. Today, I'm gonna demonstrate my code using the VS Code only. So basically, you will get some idea that how you can do that kind of things. Okay. So now, other than that, Node basically, when you are writing a React project, or when you are working on Node application, at that time Node is something required. Node is nothing but the JavaScript environment. We're gonna talk on that what is actually the Node and all. But yes, there is a software, you can find it out from the given link, that is nodejs.org, right? And you will be able to download the Node application over there. And basically, when you want to create a certain professional applications out of JavaScript libraries, you need this particular package manager basically. So you can import lots of libraries and you can use that and all sort of things. At this level, I'll show you how you can work with the Node at this level. But yes, currently it's a optional thing when you are just working with the JavaScript at the moment. So yeah, Node, if you require, you can install it. And then browser, of course you need a browser basically, where you gonna run your particular web development and you can see the results. So you need to use the proper browser for that. Okay, now let's move ahead and understand some core things before we actually jump onto the practical, concepts, because of you need to understand how it works internally so that you will be able to understand thoroughly. So JavaScript, as we have seen, that JavaScript is a client-side scripting language, and as it is developed, that will be run on a you can say basically it's run on a browser, right? So every browser has JavaScript engine that can execute the particular what you can say, your particular JavaScript code. So to execute JavaScript code, different browser use the different engines. So here you can say, basically, if you say about the Chrome use the V8 engine. Firefox, it has the Spider Monkey engine, and so on. Different browser has their own search engine. Basically, that is nothing but the code that will execute your JavaScript, right, on the browser. So in 2009, actually, Randall is a developer. He has took this particular piece of code, and he has written his own application in the C++, right? And what he do, that he has put this particular JavaScript engine into that his own application. And then after, what he do, that he has created one particular environment, you can say a JavaScript runtime environment, that is nothing but called as Node.js. So basically, if you say a Node.js is nothing but a particular environment where you can run JavaScript. So you can say that now when you will put this particular environment on a server side, you can run JavaScript at the server side as well. If you put this particular environment in some other way, you will be able to run your particular JavaScript, in a different way. So yeah, this is how Node.js basically work. So if you are working on a web development, you will be able to know that where Node.js will be used more oftenly. But like on a server-side script development, when you require, then Node.js and Node.js will be vastly used these days. All right. So enough talk. Basically, it is now. Let's say we will go through some code, right? And basically, you will be try understand how actually this particular things will work actually. So I have listed few things here, but just for a reference, that we will try to cover as many things as we try to understand at the first level, so that how JavaScript will be useful for you. So let me just give me a moment. All right, so here I'm gonna show you a particular environment. So let me show you first of all this editor. This is nothing but a VS Code, where I'm gonna show you the all the demos, right? Okay, so this is VS Code. Sorry. Okay, this is VS Code, and there I'm gonna write all the program. Okay, let me just make it suitable so that all the demonstration will be there. And basically, I'm using Chrome browser here, so that you will be able to see all the output. So uh, first of all, this is a demo page that I have created, right, to save just a time basically. So let me just start a fresh application. So this is nothing but a simple web page, you can say. And here in the VS Code, you will be able to see that here I am just running this particular page using live server. So let me just quickly show you. There are certain extensions are there in the VS Code if you see here. So these are the extension using that live server extension. You can see basically for in my local, if I want to see the output of this particular page, I can use that particular extension using live server. It will be more easily. I will be able to demonstrate you all the particular code that I'm gonna write here. So if I'm just simply trying to run this particular code, so this live server is enabled here, and I'll be able to show you or demonstrate the code. Just to make sure that it is working fine, let me just write one particular on the HTML page. Let's say this particular one, so I'll be able to uh, more clear, right? So this is nothing but a HTML page which is lively running over here. Now what I have done here, we won't gonna see anything more precisely on a web page, but yes, we are gonna use this particular tool. Let me open it again so that it will be more clear to you. Many of you must be aware, those who are knowing web development. So there is a dev tool when we do the inspect, and basically you will be able to see lots of details about the web pages over here. So in console, we this is nothing but the particular environment where you can directly write down the JavaScript code, and you can able to see. Let's say if I'm writing 1 plus 1, this will give you the result. This is because of this Chrome has this V8 JavaScript engine, and basically it will perform all the JavaScript related execution. So here you can write any JavaScript valid statement, and basically that will gonna execute on this particular console window only. So this is called console window, and where you can able to see all the outputs that we can see. So yeah, that's we are going to use over here. So for your reference, I have created this particular environment, right? A simple setup, and basically I'm gonna write the code here, and you will be able to get the demonstration over here. So now let's start with the JavaScript first of all. So basically, if we want to use the JavaScript here, so uh, okay, I hope my screen is visible to you. Is it visible? Okay, okay, just okay. All right. So let me share my screen here, right? I hope this is visible to you, and I'll just write a demo to you in this way. Okay, just let me get my screen correctly here. Okay, fine. So here we're gonna write the JavaScript code, and we will see the output in this particular window here. So we will be able to see parallel things on this side. Let me put this browser here, and yeah, this is correct. Okay, I hope this is visible to all. Sorry, unfortunately there is some issues, and I won't be able to get the feedback from you. Right, so let's don't waste the time. So basically, if you want to write a JavaScript, you can use the script tag, right? And whatever you want to write here, that will be you can use that. So here let me write a console so that quickly we will be able to let's say hello pu, right? And you can see here on the console of my page, I'm just able to log this particular message that I have mentioned using this console, right? This is very easy, that when we are writing the script tag in the HTML file, we will be able to embed it, or when we can run the JavaScript code over here. But it is not that great that we are writing all the scripting code in the HTML file itself. So it is good idea that we make an external JavaScript file, right? And we keep that particular file separate from the HTML file. To do that, we can create uh, any file like this, that is, let's say, index.js. The files are already created and kept in a same folder, so you will be able to see that. And if you want to attach this .js file, you just need to write a script src, and then you just need to provide the path of the file. Right now it is in the same folder, so I'll just simply write index, right? Let's say it is completely working fine. I'll again write one console statement here, and I'll be able to show you that it is working fine or not. So let's say hello world, very simple thing. And yeah, you can see through the live server we are able to see that this hello world syntax. So yeah, we are able to see this output over here. Okay. Okay, now this is a simple setup, but yes, let me tell you, if you want to use the node here for simplicity, we can do that also. Let me show you. The node is already installed on my system, so it will be very easy for me to demonstrate that. But if you want to do that, you just need to first of all install the node software that I showed you earlier. Okay, now basically over here, let's say basically this is another feature of the VS Code, that you will get the you know terminal itself in the VS Code. So you can see that I am currently in that particular folder where I have saved this index.js file. And if I want to execute this file itself in the console using node, what you can do, I can write node, right? And I can write the file name, that is index.js, and it will give me the same output that I can see through the particular, by linking that file to the web browser. So this is also a way where you can, execute the node. So if you install the node, you will be able to see the node command, and basically you can check the version as well. So currently I have installed the 14.70.5 version, and you can use that. We won't use this particular thing at the moment because of it is not required, right? We will stick to the JavaScript concepts, and that we will talk more in detail. So here, first thing that I have listed few things. First of all, these are the things that I'm gonna cover actually. That is what I have planned. And let me tell you, this is nothing but a comment that I have set here. So basically, those who are very much familiar with the C language, they know that we can write a single line comments using this double slash, or you can write a whole block of comments in this way, right? So this is a very common thing with respect to most of the languages, so that you must be clear with this. So let's pick first thing from the given list, and we will talk about the var, lat, and const. So this is something very important. Just try to understand basically, right? Because of, as I know that most of you will learn JavaScript in your university course, but over there you will only learn the basics. So that will be limited thing. Today, what I'm going to talk about, that is also covering the ES6 features. So that I'll highlight whenever I'm going to discuss. Okay, so let's start with the first thing, that variable declaration. So var is the keyword used for the variable declaration. So let's say var, and then you can write the name of the variable ending with semicolon. This is called a variable declaration in JavaScript, right? This is a very old thing. In very early stage, JavaScript used var keyword, right? And in ES6, they have introduced two more keywords, that is in ES6, two more keywords that is used, that is lat and const. Okay? We'll talk on that later, but let's see how this works. So basically, this is initialization, sorry, declaration. If you want to initialize some value, we can write, let's say here, command, right? And you will be able to see that these values are there. Now just want to see that what how the variable is there. So we can just console it and you will be able to see that here inside by we have the output of this particular variable, right? So if you change the value of this, let's say you can reassign the value, right? And you can say, let's say, right? And if you refresh that, you will be able to see the value is changed. This is very common and very basic things that we can assign the value of to the variable and we can use that. But the core thing that you need to understand that we are using where keyword to assign the value, right? Now there are certain issues with this particular where declaration. Basically, it has the functional scope and it has the global scope. So if you declare a variable where like this, sorry, a variable we using the where keyword, it has the global scope, and if you declared a particular variable inside a function, it will have the sorry, functional scope. But again, there is issue with this particular mechanism that accidentally if you redeclare a variable, right, JavaScript is allowing you. So if you redeclare a variable and if you will use that particular variable, so that this will allow you without any hesitation. So let me write this statement again here. Not going to show you any error. It will work absolutely fine. To overcome all of these basic issues, JavaScript has introduced new features in ES6, that is lat and const. So I'll quickly cover that. So using lat, also you can create a variable, right? And you can store values like this, but it will not allow you to redeclare the variable. And this lat and const both has the box scoping, right? Box scoping means that, right, when you assign a particular variable, right, so it will have the box scoping. So if you declare a variable inside this curly braces, right, so that variable will be available inside that curly braces only. For example, if I'm writing if condition, let's say condition something like that, true, right? And then if I'm writing this curly braces and if I'm declaring this particular sentence inside this curly braces, you will be able to see that this particular, declaration will be available, or this variable will be available inside this particular curly braces only. So if I'm writing name here, this is working fine, absolutely fine. But again, if I'm writing console statement here just to log this particular name variable, it will not going to give you the same result, right? Because of that particular variable is not there in this particular uh, mm, you can say this, it is not available in this particular outside this particular one. Let me just rename that because of, and let me put it here in this one. See, the error was there. Earlier, actually, due to the memory issue, it was not clear, so it was coming with the other name. But if I'm trying to access that variable which I have created inside this curly braces, it is not accessible. So this is called box scoping, right? And this is having, very good advantage when you are working with the large scale application where you have, a numerous amount of variable declaration and all. Similarly, you can use the const. Basically, if you don't want to, assign a value again to the variable, you can always create a variable using const keyword, right? And declaration will be again remain same. Once the value is assigned to this variable, you can't change that value, right? So this is the concept behind the const variable. If you will try to reassign any value, it will give you the error message straight away, right? It's something interesting thing. You just try to, experiment things with this and you will be able to more clear on this. Now let's move ahead with some primitive data type concepts. So basically JavaScript supports 5 data types, right? Basically 5 data types. If I'm writing here, let's say string, okay? So if you declare a variable, let's say name again, and if I'm assigning a value, right, something like this, and if I'm putting this particular thing, let me write a console statement for you where I'm going to show you the type of this. So there is a type of operator, and we will pass this variable over here, and you see here this will gonna prompt you. is this? This is not a valid statement. Yeah, this will give you the type of your particular variable, right? So let's say if we declare uh, any variable with some numbers, right? And if you will try to print that particular variable here, you will be able to see that it will tell you the type of that, right? So this is nothing but the type, you can say, of that particular variable, right? uh, so similarly, if I'm just giving you the list of data types, primitive data types, so there is a string, and there is a number, right? String, number. Similarly, there is a boolean, right? So you can write a particular variable, right? Let's say uh, is that's a valid, very simple one, right? You can set it true or false, right? And basically you will be able to see that if you will see the type of this, right? And it will tell you that it will be comment out this, otherwise it will be the error message. See the boolean, right? If you try to print the uh, type of this invalid variable, it will give you the boolean, right? So 3 we have seen here, right? What are the next? There is the next one is null, and similarly there is one more, that is undefined. Yes, undefined is also a type here, right? So if I declare a variable, and if I will not initialize that, that variable will have the undefined type, you can see here, right? So this is nothing but the undefined kind of type. Basically that will tell you that variable is not defined, basically, right? You can explicitly also assign undefined to a variable as a value, because of this is nothing but the primitive data type and a value data type, you can say. So you can also set the same thing to here, and this is also a valid statement, and you will be able to see the same thing. And null is also a type over here. So basically if you want to set a null value, that means this variable is not storing anything, right? So similarly, let me write here only. So if I store null, it is nothing but a particular type over here, right? Okay. So these are the primitive data types, right? And if you have seen here, basically, so whenever I am just trying to change the value, let me show you again. So if I have stored the name here, let me write name, and if I'm just gonna refresh it, it's showing you a data type called string. But immediately if I'm starting typing some number here, and you will be able to see that it's showing the different data type. So it means that JavaScript is nothing but it is a dynamic data type. There are different, there is a static type languages, and there is a dynamic type languages. So it means that JavaScript actually set the type of your variables at the runtime, right? So at the runtime, based on the given value, it will set the type of your variable, and internally it will manage the type conversion, right? So this is how basically JavaScript works. These are the core concepts. We haven't talked about anything advanced at the moment, but yeah, this is important. So I'm just trying to go through that again and again. So yeah, so using let, const, and where we can declare a variable. These are the primitive data types. And the last thing that we haven't talked on, that is a reference type. I'm sure that you are aware of these words, that when I'm saying that primitive data types, reference type, right? I'm not actually going in detail with that, but yes, reference type, basically three types are there. One is array, okay. Second one is object, and yes, third one is function. All three are reference type, right? Data type, you can say. Now you might have a curiosity that how function is also in a type. Yes, JavaScript handle this particular thing as a particularly, you can say, as a a reference type. You will be understand more thing if you will go in detail with these all concepts, so how they manage everything. But yeah, we will try to understand this three also, but at very basic level. Alright. So yeah, this is something important to you. Okay, so we let me go just revise. We have talked about where, let, const, right? Primitive data types, reference type, dynamic type languages, right? That is And let's start with certain advanced thing. Basically, I won't say advanced, but yes, ES6 features, I must say, that is introduced from 2015 onwards. And if you will go in industry these days, these features are widely used, right? So the first thing out of ES6 that we have already discussed, that is let and const. Let me add it to here, let and const. So you will have the, if you can take a screenshot of this, you will have the, some idea that what are the things that you have covered, as something that will be not part of your syllabus probably. So yeah, that will be the thing. I'll quickly try to see that what are the advanced features are there. Okay, so first and most interesting one, and that is something very very something very useful to you also. Let me say I have created a separate file for that. So I'll open that file to you, and I'll be able to explain that thing. Okay, okay, the arrow one. Yeah. Okay, so to explain the arrow function, let me show you the list. We are talking about the arrow function here. To explain the arrow function, we're gonna use this particular file here, that is arrow function. And to do this, I'll just simply change the name that I have linked with our HTML page, a live page, so that it will be more easy for you to understand. Okay, bring that file in a front side. Okay, right. So let's start with this. So now let's get to this particular file. So if you can just quickly go through the file, I have created bunch of functions. Now I don't need to explain you what is all that things, and I am sure you can easily understand these are the regular functions. In C language, Java, you might have understand the concept of functions, so I'm not going in that particular detail. But again, these are the valid function. Let me tell you, if I'm trying to run any particular function over here, let me remove this, and let's take a variable rather than just doing this. So let's say let result and equal to, I'll write sum, and then I'll pass two argument because of the required two argument here. And let's print the result variable, so it will be more readable for you. So you can see that we have the output 8 here. So what is so funny here, what is so important here, that now we are gonna try to see how we can use the concept of arrow function. So in JavaScript ES5, they have introduced a concept of arrow function, right? And how it works, so basically you can convert the given function into the arrow function, and for that you don't need to write the let keyword, sorry, this function keyword. We can write the let, then sum equal to, in the basis we can write the arguments, whatever the names are there, right, b, and then this at arrow we're gonna use, and again this. Sorry, due to lack of time, I won't go in that detail, but yes, I will try to see that you will at least get some basic things. Now, this is almost look similar to this, right? But yes, if you have the smaller function like this, you can omit this return statement. You can omit this curly braces. You can uh, remove this, and basically, let me just comment out this, otherwise it will give the error message. And you can see, if you write the sum function in a same way, this is a single line function, you can say, in a JavaScript, right? Earlier you see there is a function is written with this many statement. It is now very comprised, and you can say a very compact version of your function with the arrow function. I won't say syntactically only. This is very useful when you are writing a function, because of the syntax. It's look very small and compact, but yes, it has lot of other advantage. The particularly handling with the this keyword, right? This is not actually the time where we will be able to discuss the this keyword, because it's a concept where we will talk on. It requires lots of discussion, so I won't talk on that. But in context to this keyword also, it has the difference. So basically, regular JavaScript function like this, and when you are writing an arrow function like this, it has a wide advantage, yeah, good advantage. So it is highly required that you should aware with the concept of arrow functions, right? So yes, this is important. right? So different versions are there. I'll quickly convert all the given function in terms of arrow function, so you will have the quick idea. Let me comment it out. Let me just uh, yeah, comment it out this. And if we want to declare the same print function, so here print name is the function, so I'll use the word, and again as I said, equal to, and you can write the your argument. So here we have one argument. If it is one argument, we can omit the parenthesis here. We can just directly write like this. And as I said, if it is a single statement, we can directly write that statement here. You can see here, I have just written this particular function. So here we will just try to come from this, and we will try to run this print function. If I'm writing here print new function, we'll be able to see the correct output, but we haven't passed any value here. So let me pass the value. You see this? So this is now a single line function. You can convert like this, right? So if there is single argument, you can also remove the parenthesis, and this is nothing but the simple way to use the arrow function. It is very useful when we will work with some other concepts, right? So let me just cover that thing. Okay, so basically when we are working with array, so let me bring the array here. Let me add that particular file here so that we can use that. Okay, if we have the array here, let's say like this, and if you want to use that, so there are different methods are there. So this is nothing but the array available here. So let me just print the length of the array. There is a property called length, and you can able to print the length of the array. So these many elements are there in the array. There is a method. There are ES6 methods are there. Let me say filter method, right? Using filter method, this method will filter it out the elements from the given array. So to display the result, let me put this in a way, filtered number. Okay. Filtered number. Now this method accept a function as argument. So here I'm gonna write a simple function which will be nothing but a you can say a arrow function, right? I want to filter out all the numbers, those who are less than 5, right? So if I'm writing n less than 5, right, this is nothing but very precise code to just give you the output. And let me just write down console this filtered number, right? Now you can see here it will filter it out all the values. So all the values are less than, let's say 5, will be there in this particular one, right? If I put that I want to filter it out, all the values are greater than 5, so it can filter it out, right? So you can imagine that to perform this kind of small applications also, you may need to write a for loop. You need to just revise the particular array, or you can iterate the array particular element by element. You can write if condition where you will write this condition, and your element is greater than 5 or less than 5 or whatever condition, and accordingly you will be able to filter it out. But see, in this is nothing but a small function that I have written, right? This is, let me just take out of this here, and if I'm writing here, this is nothing but a small function that we have written here. If I'm doing function, and then if I'm writing a return function, right? If I'm doing this, I need to write the whole function like this, right? But here we have written this particular function in very simple way. This is very easy example for you. For the complex example, I have created uh, one particular array with array of object, you can say. We haven't talked on this, but let's say I'll just brief you with this. This is nothing but the object, right? Where there is a properties named and price with some values, right? And there are multiple objects are there. So this is an item array. And if I want to iterate through this, so I can again write, or let's say we can write one method called find. This is also a method for the array. This method is also a method which accepts the function. So I want to find a particular value, right? And that value has the name, let's say item, the name equal to, let's say bread, right? Here it will match, it will iterate over this particular array. It will take one item at a time, right? This item variable represents this one object. Item dot name, that represent the property of this name. If I am writing item dot price, it represents this particular price. So likewise, it will iterate through all the particular items and it will match with this particular value I have given. So this is nothing but the simple comparison. Now this will give us a result. Let me write the result here and let me write a variable here result, so that you will be able to see the result. Let result, okay, and you will be able to see that it has filtered it out the particular result here, right? Grade and price of that. So we can do this kind of thing using this concept, right? So there are, many more things are there. I won't go in detail, but yes, I want to, talk about one particular important thing, that is spread operator. Now spread operator is also very interesting thing. Let me write an array. If I have an array of, let's say 1, 3, 4 kind of thing, and if I want to, let's say if I have another array, let's say B, and it has some values like 8, 9 kind of thing. And if I want to combine these two array, you might have a different way to do that. But here in JavaScript, particularly ES6 feature is that a spread operator. You can do 3 dot and the array, that is an A in my case. Again, there is another array called B, so 3 dot and the B, that is array name. If I'll simply save this, let me just write a console to see, you'll be able to see that I have added all the values into the single array, right? First elements are there from this array, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that, and this. So you can simply combine two arrays simply using this. So this is nothing but the spread operator mechanism, right? This works absolutely fine with the, array as well as with the object. So when we are working with object also, you can, perform this thing, that is, uh, working with this. So let me just quickly go through the object. So here is the concept of object. Working with object, basically if you want to print this object, simply write a console, and then this is a person object basically. So if you print this, you will be able to get this output where this particular person has this many properties. I will just quickly go through this. So let's say the person has the name, city, and age. So if there is a number, you don't need to put it in a quote. You can directly write that. Otherwise, you can put this in a key pair, and you can print the object like this. Object is again a reference type. Array is again a reference type, and the function that we have discussed again the reference type, right? So we have covered all the reference types and primitive data types in our discussion. But again, when you are working with the object, right? Basically, this is very key thing with our data structure. You can say when you're working with this, because of as a front end developer, most of the time you have to deal with two particular data structure. One is object, and one is array, and second one is object. So this is something important that you need to understand. Okay, so if you want to deal with the object, again you can use the spread operator and many more certain advanced features. For example, if I want to create, let's say if I'm trying to create a new object, or let's say a name called employee, right? And out of that, if I want to create, I can always assign all the properties are there from the person object, comma, I can add some more properties like post, like, right? Tabular path, right? So this will create my new object which has the property, let's say what was the name, employee, right? So if I'll try to print this, you will be able to see that it got the particular post as its property, and here it is not there. Can you see this? So this is how basically using split operator. There is one more concept of destructuring, but let's say uh, we'll try to cover it at some other time or some other way. But you just try to see that these are the some core concept, because of in a front end development or as a JavaScript developer, when you are going to create the various components, that will be most often it will be in a two form, objects and array. And that is what is actually very important as a front end developer, as a JavaScript developer, that you need to deal with. So just let me just go through that. Last thing that is not actually covered, that is template literals. So template literal is nothing but when we are talking about any string. So let's say if we are writing a string, so let str equal to hello world, right? Let's say we are writing hello and we are writing world like this. So this is converted in ES6, and it is now you can write like this using this particular X, and you can write hello, right? And you can again do this, like let me say if I'm writing one particular more variable, so str1, let str1, then I can simply write str, sorry, this X is uh, dollar sign, curly braces, str, and then let me say word here. So I'm writing like this. This okay, you can use the template string. So yeah, these are the some core things that we have discussed today. Uh, Let me just quickly. Okay, these are certain core ideas that we have discussed today. Quickly just going through that, right? And certain important things, that is array and object, that we have tried to discuss that. Okay. Other than that, let me just quickly go through that. Certain libraries and frameworks are there. They are the based on the concept of JavaScript. React, where I'm working on right now as a web developer. Angular is again you might know that it is an Google based platform where you can make a career. React is nothing but the Facebook has developed that, right? jQuery, React Native, basically for the mobile app development. Similarly, Vue.js and Ember.js is also there, where you can develop your particular web application. Node.js is basically a runtime environment that we have discussed, where you can develop the various applications for a server side. Some key information for you. So those who are really interested in JavaScript related libraries, or when you where you want to make your career, you can say that many big companies have developed their applications which are based on certain libraries like that. So Facebook, Instagram, Netflix are they are used in the React and so on. So each and every, you can say, a library has their own advantages and their own way to work, right? Try to understand that if you will be a master in one of them, you will have the good career opportunity. So it's like that JavaScript is your first step, but you just need to go through this particular libraries, and you can boom into your web development career. Just for your knowledge, these are the latest trend these days. So you can say an example, that is single page web application. It's just an example of your let's say Facebook, right? So when you are on a Facebook, on particularly not on mobile but on a web page, right, you will be able to see that without loading your particular web page, it's keep it refresh the contents of your page. Particularly, let's say if you like, or you post something or something like that, right? So it doesn't load the whole particular application again and again. So this is nothing but the single page web application concept. You just need to read that more in detail. You can also develop mobile friendly web application which is nicely rendered on your particular mobile browsers, or you can say, mobile screens. So it needs to be properly responsive. Progressive web application development, that is also trendy these days. AI based application development, both based application, voice search, IoT based application, these are the, certain key things are there. They are booming these days in a market. So yeah. So other than that, these are the, certain important thing from my company. You can always refer my websites, our websites, so where you can able to find all the details. So yeah, thank you everybody. Mary, that are the these are the, some key things that I wanted to share with you. Okay, so happy new year, you guys, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Unfortunately, due to technical issues, I have missed some of the points. Just let me know, right? So that if something I can, clarify for you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sukla sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, Amit sir, thank you so much for giving us the knowledge on the topic of JavaScript and advanced features. And we are thankful to the management or principal team, HOD, and our president sir for giving us opportunity to attend this webinar. Thank you so much, sir. Students, if you have any questions, okay, Amit Parwa sir, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you, thank you.